On this week's show, Peloton drops tons of new material for the month of May.
And Tunde's new book, Speak, is finally out. Plus, the Red Hot Chili Peppers Artist Series, and much, much more.
Welcome to Pelo Buddy TV, a show for the Peloton community by the Peloton community. Here are your hosts, Amanda Siegel and John Pruitt.
Welcome to episode 81 of Pelo Buddy TV, a show for the Peloton community by the Peloton community. I'm Amanda Siegel, and I'm joined by my co-host, my traveling co-host, John Pruitt. Welcome back, John.
Hey now, did you miss me, Amanda?
Just a little. Of course I missed you, John. But I gotta tell you, your wife did very, very well. She was a superstar. I know that she was a little nervous and apprehensive about doing this, but I have to tell you, she was fantastic and was so appreciative. Did she?
She stepped up nicely. She stepped up nicely. She said she was also very impressed by the production quality of the show because she does her own little podcast, but basically on her phone in her car. So that's her studio.
Yeah. Now, I got to tell you, she just fitted right in, and it was awesome. And so huge thanks to Jackie. And, of course, last week we had Nicole, Zag's fangirl. And I got to tell you, John,
thanks, Nicole.
We dumped her with so many stories, but she was fantastic. So it's really nice to get different folks in here to do that. So if anybody else wants to co-host when John or myself is, abroad or away, then we'd love to have you. But It was really, really good. You had a good time. You had a great time in New York. Tell us.
Yeah, started out with a visit to New York, stayed with my mom in Jersey, which is where I'm from, where I grew up. And we had a nice dinner in Soho. And then I went to a couple Fish concerts at Madison Square Garden, and I did the first night. I'd been messaging back and forth with Andy Spear, and he was also going to the first night, the second Fish concert that I went to, which was the Thursday night show. So we were planning on meeting up, and it just so happened before the show started, I was walking to my seat in the concourse at MSG, when this guy passed me by, and I immediately turned and I said, "That's Andy." And so I ran. My friend Nicole, in her group that I went with, I said, "I'll meet you at the seats." And I ran up behind him and I grabbed him by the shoulders and I said, "What's up, jabroni?" And he turned around and he started laughing. We had a quick chat. I knew the concert was about to start, so the clock was ticking. Yeah. But we had a laugh. We talked for a minute, and I met his friend that he went there with, who was a non-Peloton, person. But his outfit was really funny. He had these rose-colored sunglasses on. He had a Peloton bomber jacket and these very brightly, almost like jogger pants. And I'll send a picture to Chris Giles,
to put it so
it
people
can be up
see.
here.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of fun, and it was a great concert. And luckily, didn't catch COVID, which apparently a lot of people did at the 4-concert run there at MSG. But had a great time in Mexico after that with Jackie and Jackson, and
awesome.
Got settled back into working out this week, which I really missed, not being on the bike or the tread. But I managed to do a workout on a stationary bike at the hotel fitness room in Mexico. I did Jen's mixtape ride, the Robelo ride, and then I did little 10-minute cores the other days because I couldn't handle doing a non-Peloton tread or bike those other days in the fitness room. But it was a little bit of a withdrawal being off the leaderboard for that long, but nice to be back.
I know, it sucks, eh?
Yeah.
It sucks.
It does.
Yeah, well, we're glad to have you back. We are definitely glad to have you back.
Thank you.
Yeah, I had also crazy. The back and forth to Florida has been a little overwhelming, but I did get back. When I got back last week, I actually really, and I wanted to share it, and Chris had asked me to do a review, and unfortunately, I'm a very slow reader, so we'll get there. But I got to meet David Miller. For you folks that, David Miller, Chicago born. He lives 10 minutes from me in Maryland. And What a fantastic guy. I am so mad at myself that it took me this long for us to connect and get to see each other, but we did. And he very generously gave me a copy of his new book, Sweating Together.
Got a copy?
I did. And not only did I get a copy, John, I got a very personalized copy that he signed and said, Amanda, so happy to finally meet. Thank you for helping build Peloton. Oh my God, I don't have my glasses on. So I am reading at the moment. I'm about a third of the way through, and I'm looking forward to sharing on the show a little bit about it and share with you guys. So that for those of you that don't know, David is, one of the OGs, really got into the game in the beginning and wrote this amazing book about, and the title of the book is Sweating Together, How Peloton Built a $1 billion venture and created community in a digital world. And it's a pretty awesome book. So it releases on May 24th. So if you haven't pre-ordered your copy, go ahead. And I got a uncorrected proof, not for resale copy. So it may be worth a lot of money one day. But huge shout out to David. And I'm looking forward to reporting on the book, hopefully once I get it finished.
He had messaged me. He messaged me before I went on vacation about possibly coming on Pelo Buddy to promote it and talk about it. And I guess you haven't gotten to that part in the book, but apparently I'm mentioned in it at some point because he sent me a little screenshot of this one section of the book where it mentions my leaderboard name. So
I haven't
flattery
gotten there
will get
yet,
you
but
everywhere.
He did tell me,
David Miller.
He did tell me, and I was so excited. I'm so bummed because he had, as I said, he had reached out to me a couple times in the past, and I don't know whether his DMs got lost or whatever. Anyway, I'm glad so I am not in the book, but I am glad that we got to meet, and I think it's a great friendship that we'll hopefully have moving forward. And as I said, he's literally 10 minutes from me. So he's just a really stand-up, fantastic guy. We know people in the community together. So it's awesome. It's awesome. So I wanted to give David a huge shout out, and I'm looking forward to either we have him on, absolutely, and or certainly I can give a review on the book. So, but you know what, John? There is a ton of news. So,
I know. We got to get into it.
We got to get into it. So, folks, before we get started with the news, we always do like to remind you of how you can keep up to date with all of our content across all of our platforms. Every episode is released on our YouTube channel. Just hit the subscribe button in the bottom right-hand side of the video and hit the notify button so that you never miss an episode.
And if you want to just listen to us, we are on all traditional podcast platforms. Just search Pelo Buddy TV. Hit that subscribe button, click notifications so you never miss an episode. And we love to hear from you. We love seeing the positive reviews that we receive. So please leave us some feedback if you're enjoying the show or have any suggestions or comments. And I know Bank Guy, one of our favorite commenters on the YouTube platform, was a little concerned I might be leaving. I'm not going anywhere. I'm back here. So all is well in the Pelo Buddy universe.
All is well in the Pelo Buddy universe. That's for sure. That's for sure. All right, folks. Finally, we are, of course, on Facebook, Instagram, and now Twitter. So just search for Pelo Buddy. Follow us on those platforms for all of the latest news. And now, John, let's get on with the show.
All right.
First, let's do a rundown of the latest Pelo news.
All right. Peloton has begun teasing a number of new programs, artist series, and collections that will be dropping throughout the month of May. Some are already available. Others will be launched during Homecoming, which will be next week. And it seems that others will be released later on in May. All right. So for those who haven't done any serious, for those of you that do have, I almost misquoted myself. For those of you that do have any serious arm envy over Tunde's insane arms, now there is an official Peloton Tunde Oyeneyin arms strength training program called Tunde's Arms. So over the years, there have been a number of unofficial Peloton Tunde arms programs and challenges. And obviously Peloton took notice and heard what the members were saying. And they have now created their own official program. It's not clear yet whether this will be a Peloton Guide exclusive program for 7 weeks or not. Though we would expect it to be compatible with the movement tracker feature of the Peloton Guide either way. So the Peloton Tunde Arms program will first be available during Peloton Homecoming. So definitely look out for that. And as I said, I mean, that woman has arms that are to die for.
Serious goals, yeah.
Right? I mean, hashtag goals for sure. So that's number one. Next up is a third Peloton Power Zone training program called Peak Your Power Zone. This will also launch at Homecoming, and it is a follow-up to Peloton's first 2 Power Zone training programs, Discover Your Power Zones and the newer Build Your Power Zones program. You'll be able to follow along with the new classes in the Peak Your Power Zone program with Home Fitness Buddy Power Zone training tool and timer shortly after they launch. So for those Power Zone folks out there, and there are just more and more and more, I'm seeing so much more being posted about Power Zone and doing Power Zone. And I think you and me, John, are still the two that have not just jumped on that bandwagon. I mean, I tried when Ben started. You know, I was yeah.
I'm a casual Power Zoner. I'm just not fully invested in doing the whole program. You know, every now and then I do a Saturday Power Zone with Matt Wilpers or during the week, but I'm just not fully into doing, you know, the 4 week or 6 week commitment. That's a lot of folks are into.
Yeah, me neither. And I think there's just, as I said before, there's so much on the platform, and you really have to be committed. I mean, if you're going to, if you're going to do Power Zone, you have to be pretty committed to it. So, I guess, we'll have to see. We'll have to see there. So we're also asking if Peloton will also take this opportunity to add some new instructors to the Power Zone team. Maybe Sam Yo, who's been teasing new things that are in the works for him. So I don't know whether you think, John, that would even be a possibility or not. But they are talking about potentially bringing on some new instructors to train in the Power Zone programs. Also launching during Homecoming will be the new Fleetwood Mac Artist Series. Classes will begin around Peloton Homecoming with one class already up on the schedule, which I just know you're taking, John. Strength. It's a 60-minute Fleetwood Mac total strength with Andy, and that drops on Sunday, May the 15th at 10:30 Eastern Time. So I don't know, John, 60 minutes, if you don't do strength often, I think maybe you and I are passing on that one. But sure
it's
Andy,
it's
going to be fantastic. I know, that's why I said. Maybe it'll be your launch into strength.
I would work out with him if traditionally his Sunday morning class didn't conflict with Jen Sherman.
Right, okay.
Because that's usually during Jen's time slot. They overlap, so.
Depends
on what she's got going on that Sunday morning. We'll see.
All right, we'll have to see. We also saw the launch of a new Strong as a Mother pre- and post-natal classes dropping, as well as new Mother's Day classes, which will drop from May 6th through 8th. So this weekend they have dropped, and there were tons of new classes on the platform. So definitely take a look at those. The Asian and Pacific Islander Heritage Month celebration in May will also bring us new classes, some which have already dropped on the schedule. Mental health awareness is in the month of May, and as in the past, we will see new classes drop for that. We believe beginning the week of May 16th, there's going to be a Dear Evan Hansen Broadway series dropping in May, and I believe it's on May 20th. And finally, we are going to see the second installment of the Approach Yoga series. So the first was a power restorative yoga with Ross Rayburn, which launched back in February. The second will be this new, brand new program with Kira Michelle, which will drop on May 25th. So just a ton of stuff happening in May. And obviously with Homecoming, you know, they're kind of throwing this out and people are more observant and seeing what's going on. So lots and lots for everybody on the platform.
There's way too much going on. Way too much.
There is way too much. It's hard to focus, right?
Which isn't a bad thing, but it's overwhelmingly a lot. That, I guess that isn't a bad thing. Well, an update. So in Andy Spear's recent Reddit AMA that he held with Peloton Guide's project manager, John Silly, he answered a couple questions. And so for anyone that is, an Apple Watch user and excited about the recent integration with the tread and the bike, he did state that Apple Watch will be supported launching with the Peloton Guide this summer. So that'll be fully integrated where you use it as a heart rate monitor with the Peloton Guide. So stay tuned. He did also confirm that Total Strength 3 is coming. He didn't have any kind of timeline. It seems like it might be a ways away, but it will be going on. It will happen at some point in the future. He said, John Silly said, there's a ton of features coming soon for the guide, but the one we're happy to give you some visibility on is Apple Watch. He said today members can connect a variety of Bluetooth-enabled heart rate monitors to their guide, as well as the Peloton heart rate band to get their Strive score. But we've heard the feedback on the Apple Watch and are excited to announce that support for it will be coming this summer for the guide. So just around the corner for anyone that's, Jackie uses her Apple Watch. You have an Apple Watch too, don't you?
I do. But I got to tell you, with the app, it has not been working great. I mean, I've been trying to use it when I run. So they really need to figure that out, because it constantly drops my heart rate. So if I'm kind of doing a run with the app on a regular treadmill, on a generic treadmill, it doesn't keep track of your entire workout, which is very frustrating.
Huh. Well, I love the Peloton heart rate band, the new one.
Do you?
So I've been using that consistently on the tread and the bike.
Yeah. All right. That'll kind of lead me into the next story, John, talking about that, because
speaking of glitches,
I was very frustrated as I was a little too late for the party with Peloton Snafu, which I'll share in a minute. But we spoke last week about the Mother's Day promotion that Peloton were having, which included $150 off of accessories for the Peloton Guide, which did in fact include that heart rate monitor and a mat. The original price was $295 for just the guide itself. But with the Mother's Day promotion, Peloton were kind of putting it together as a bundle, and we're offering the guide with the mat and the heart rate band for the same $295 price. So these three products together would normally cost $445. But applying the $150 discount code brought that total back down to $295. So we do believe, though, that so for those folks that may have bought the Peloton Guide previously, you have 30 days to see if you could perhaps get some kind of refund, or they'll send you the guide and the mat. So we've heard from members that if you call Peloton, they will in fact do a price match. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that they have that 30-day money-back guarantee program anyway. So instead of folks having to ship back what they bought and then repurchasing, it kind of depends who you get, apparently, on the phone. Some of the agents have just said, just go ahead. We'll just go ahead and send it to you. Others have said, ship the guide back to us and we'll send you the bundle. So the suggestion's been, maybe call back later and see if you get the right, the right person after that. But what ended up happening, it was literally right after we recorded last week, was that there was a glitch on the website. And what they had done was they had posted the bundle as the $295 and not the $445. And they were giving you that 150 promotion on that 150 because you were doing the accessory bundle. So folks were walking away. It was a steal. It was
so the
an absolute
150
steal.
was being deducted from the 295 total price.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it was a glitch that unfortunately Chris spoke about way too quickly on Pelo Buddy, and obviously Peloton then caught on very quickly.
They fixed the glitch.
By the time I hit refresh, because I was going to buy it, I was like, it was a no-brainer. It was like, oh my God, that just made absolutely no sense not to purchase it. So yeah, I was frustrated. It's still a good deal though. I think still for $295, as you say, if this heart rate band is as good as you say it is, then it actually may be worth it. But I will tell you folks that it is today, Mother's Day, May 8th, is when the promotion ends. So if you are watching the show today or listening to the show today, make sure you jump on and go ahead and purchase today, because from tomorrow, it's done, and it's back to regular pricing and no promotion and no bundle. So you're still paying the $295. You're not getting it for and I'm horrible at math, the $150 or whatever it was. But definitely something to think about. So yeah, I mean, I have to say, it was $145, I guess, with the discount. So folks, Peloton were honoring that. I know that for folks that were able to get it for that ridiculously low price, they did in fact, honor it, and nobody said that they saw an extra charge on their credit cards or anything. But that was a silly mistake on Peloton's part. I guess. Oops.
I should have scooped that up, but I didn't even try. I was, during vacation, so I
were gone.
I missed it by hours. Yeah, I missed it.
Yeah.
Well, in the Rumorville, we've got some possible rowing bootcamp classes that will be available soon. Some newly uncovered data that our friend Bob Tremore recently shared on Twitter indicates that Peloton could be planning to develop rowing bootcamp classes when the Peloton Rower eventually launches. He found some data in a publicly available web file pointing towards a Caesar bootcamp class type. And we know from previous reports that Caesar is one of the code names for the Peloton Rower. Has also been referred to as the Mazu device originally, so this would indicate it would work on a Peloton Rower bootcamp class. And since Bob Tremore has made that report, a second reference has been found. However, rather than using a code name, the second reference clearly stated both rowing and rowing bootcamp as class types. And this also, tracks with Peloton's recent emphasis on bootcamp content, which pairs strength training with cardio. Peloton recently announced the first ever boxing boot camp this past January. So hopefully if we get a rower announcement, which we could possibly see over homecoming next weekend, boot camp will come pretty shortly thereafter.
Awesome. I know. Yeah. It's by this time next week, we'll know whether that rower is going to be on the market or not. I mean, come on, at this point, there's no question that it is going to be. Curious to see what pricing bracket they're going to have it at, having reduced the cost of the bike and reduced the cost of, the tread and all these specials. I'm very curious to see what the price point is going to be for the rower. So,
I would think it would be somewhere in competitive pricing with maybe Echelon or Hydro. I don't know what a Hydro is, probably around 2,500.
Yeah.
US, I think.
I don't know what the cost is. So we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
All right, folks, it's official. Tunde's book, Speak, is finally out there for you to enjoy. She made her first public appearance right in my backyard in Northern Virginia at Tyson's Galleria, which I understood from friends and social media posts was a huge success. John, I certainly was frustrated and bummed that I was down in Florida and wasn't able to attend. But from what I can tell, it was superb. Yeah, my timing really sucked. It was just packed with people. And
standing room only.
standing room only. And from what I hear from a lot of my friends that went, and so many people had asked for me to join, and I was so upset and disappointed that I was going to be down here. But it really was superb. Her next stop was New York, and that was just this past Thursday. And then today, she is in LA. And what an amazing Mother's Day gift for any Californians who were able to attend. So she was down, she was, out in California and spoke on Mother's Day, May 8th today, for everybody to watch or to hear, to listen. So that was really exciting. So she is on a roll with her book.
My book, I ordered the book a while back, and it arrived the day it was released. And then Jackie, unknowingly, ordered one as two. So we have two copies. So we're about to both dive in. But we didn't. They weren't signed. We didn't get lucky and get one of the signed ones, because I've seen some posts with unveiling, and they get some like fancy yellow packaging with the tissue paper and the little signed card in there. But yeah, I just got the book. All
right. Well, I am looking forward to read. There's a lot to read. There's a lot to do. Oh my goodness. There's not enough hours in the day.
Yeah. So,
all right.
Moving on, we have some new roll call strength classes, and also there's no monthly strength stack for May. Peloton launched a new strength series this past Monday, the 2nd. The Peloton Strength Roll Call classes took place initially last Monday through Friday with different instructors teaching the classes. They teased the announcement originally when they released the guide. The classes are now showing up on the schedule for the first time. The Roll Call Strength classes are described as follows. It also answers the questions, what are Peloton Roll Call Strength classes? They said our favorite strength instructors will teach at the same time every week, Monday to Friday. Everyone who is a Peloton member can take these classes live on demand, but only members using the Peloton Guide will have access to the Strength Roll Call program. We'll be creating a collection of the weekly Strength Roll Call classes into a program exclusively available on the Peloton Guide. Live made-for-movement tracker classes will start soon, they also said. The roll call strength classes, they'll vary in length and focus on different areas of the body each day, such as full body, glutes and legs, upper body and core, while taking place with a consistent live schedule. And so far, the following instructors are on the schedule for the roll call classes: Jess Sims, Selena, Ben Aldis, Jermaine Johnson, Callie, and Adrian. So if you have a guide, definitely dive into those if you haven't already. And then I would imagine, just as Chris Lewis has stated, the classes should hopefully become available sometime after they've debuted on the guide for the rest of the Peloton members, on the app, bike, tread, so forth.
Right. Yeah, sure, a lot. I think you're up next with the Leaderboard Series, right?
I am. Thank you for reminding me. The On the Leaderboard Series, which originally was just launched by Peloton on YouTube, is now available in classes. And I actually did one on the tread, which is going to be one of my picks of the week. But
awesome.
Last month, Peloton announced this YouTube series called On the Leaderboard with Peloton, and it features Peloton instructors interviewing various celebrities that are also Peloton members, while being led through a short personalized class, either on the Peloton tread or the bike. And so far, the series has featured celebrities Usain Bolt and Joe Jonas, with Olivia and Jess Sims. And then until now, the only way to watch it was just on the YouTube channel. So that recently changed, and now they've both been added to episodes. They've both been added as Peloton classes. What's interesting is they've added them both as rides and walks.
I saw that,
so
right?
You can do them on the bike and the tread. So
no, I didn't think you could do it on the tread. Well, you couldn't do it on the app, though, right?
Well, I did the walk, the Joe Jonas walk, with Olivia on the tread. But
Okay.
apparently it's also been made into a ride, even though the two of them are walking on the treadmill,
on a
but
tread.
you can do it
Okay.
on the bike.
Interesting.
And then
But I don't
the
think you can do it
ride-
on the app, though. I think you have to be on the hardware to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't even checked that, but yeah, so you can do both. You know, if you don't have the tread, you can do the walk on the Peloton bike or Bike Plus, and vice versa.
Got it.
But
Got
yeah,
it.
they're 10 minutes. They're both they dropped on May 2nd, but they're on there now. And I haven't done the Usain Bolt one, but the Joe Jonas one was fun, and it's very sort of well produced. You know, they add different effects in, zoom in and zoom outs. But yeah, it was funny that the banter with Olivia and Joe back and forth. And Joe Jonas, he's a very active member on the Peloton bike.
Very active member and very enamored with Olivia.
Active high fiver.
Yeah, but he's also
Yes.
very enamored with Olivia. I think he was more starstruck by being in front of her than she maybe was in front of him, which I thought was quite amusing. I did do
Yeah.
the Usain Bolt. I didn't do it. I listened to it before, and we spoke about it on the show. I think Jackie and I spoke about it. But I think it's kind of cool now that you might as well cycle, pedal out or walk if you're going to be listening to it. So I think that was a very, very clever, clever on the part of Peloton to have gone ahead and added it into the schedule that way, being able to take it on demand on the hardware. I definitely think that was a smart move. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, last Saturday, Peloton had launched their latest training program called Go the Distance 5K. This Peloton 5K training program is designed to help build up speed, strength, and endurance. And the program lasts 6 weeks with tread coaches Bex Gentry, Susie Chan, Marcel Dinkins, and yes, the thorn amongst the roses, John Husking. So they are all the instructors that are leading this program. It's the second 5K program. There is already a Road to Your 5K program, which is a 5-week training program that's on the platform. But this Go the Distance program, of course, comes with coveted badges because, we've got to earn a badge if we're going to do a program. So you can earn a bronze badge for completing 12 classes, a silver badge for completing 18 classes, and a gold badge for completing 22 classes. And I believe that there are 24 classes in all. So there are 2 classes you don't have to do if you don't want to. As all other programs, the program is locked. So you would have to typically start from the beginning. If you were doing it on the tread, you would start from the beginning and work your way through. But as you folks know, if you watch the show regularly, you can head over to pelobuddy.com and you are able to access the classes independently from the program. So you don't have to kind of start at the beginning. I'm thrilled. I am absolutely thrilled to do this, and I am definitely going to start the program, John, when I get back to Maryland and I'm back on my tread. I didn't want to start it unlocked because I wanted to really follow it and do it properly, on the tread. Yeah. So I'm really thrilled. And I'm curious to see others that jump on the bandwagon. And if you do, I'd love to know who's doing it. And, I can kind of buddy up and see, and hopefully folks can motivate one another to do it. I know there's been a lot of chatter when this was released, and we have the Road to 26.2. When are we going to have a half marathon option as well? Because there's nothing for a 13.1 at the moment. So maybe that's up next. I think that possibly is something that they'll end up doing. But I was really happy. I must be honest, I did not do the previous 5K one, but with Susie and John on there, and of course Bex, and I've never worked out with Marcel, so it'll be a good opportunity to see her style and how she does things. I'm looking forward to it. So that 5K program is up and out there.
Well, to circle back to the on leaderboard classes, I just checked in the app, and you can take them on the app, because I looked in my history and it did give the option to take that 10-minute Joe Jonas walk. So I would imagine the other one with Usain Bolt is available on the app as well. So
sounds good. All right, I'm gonna have to go back and look
there.
at that. Okay, I'll go back and look at it. Awesome.
So we had a Red Hot Chili Peppers Artist Series that was announced as part of the ongoing Rock 22 collection and challenge. Peloton shared the news on their Instagram channel on Wednesday the 4th. All the classes began on the 4th, included 11 classes over 4 modalities. A lot of them were live, some were pre-recorded on demand drops. We have the complete list on the Pelo Buddy website. But most notably, there was a 30-minute Red Hot Chili Peppers ride with Kendall that Wednesday night in the Artist Series ride time slot. There's a warm-up ride with Bradley. There's a 20-minute full body strength with Andy. There's a yoga flow. There's a German 30-minute ride with Eric Yeager. There's some lower body strength with Jess Sims, a core with Olivia, and another German yoga flow with Nico Serrani. So you can also expect to receive an Artist Series badge for all you badge lovers. I haven't taken a look at it. Hopefully it's a nicely designed one and not like a simple, boring badge that they do for a lot of them.
I'm sure Chris will pop this up. So for the YouTube viewers, you'll be able to see what the badge looks like. So that'll be cool.
Just put the badge right there.
Yeah.
And the Rock 22 challenge, the Rock 22 collection has featured a number of artist-specific classes. Peloton has included some official artist series in there, such as Def Leppard and Women of Rock.
Yeah, great. All right, so next up, John, as the mom of a child in education, I love that Peloton has a special teacher appreciation week with designated classes. I think it's really cool. Jess Sims had shared on social, that as someone who had formerly been a teacher and principal, that this was something that was very close to her heart. She says that we can all agree that we need to shower our teachers with all of the extra love and respect that they all deserve. And I agree with her 100%. So in appreciation of all the teachers out there, there was a 45-minute teacher appreciation trade boot camp with Jess last Tuesday at 5:30 p.m., as well as an amazing flow with former educator Chelsea Jackson Roberts. That was on Thursday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and a ride with the one and only Alex Toussaint, whose mom has just retired from a lifelong career dedicated to education. So he really did that in honor of his mom, which I thought was amazing. And that actually kicked off the Teacher Appreciation Week. That was back on Monday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So the class description, John, for Alex's ride went as follows. Celebrate teachers and give them the extra credit they deserve for having such supportive roles in our lives. Join Alex for this 30-minute ride, honoring the hard work and commitment of those who inspire the next generation. So, I guess...
And when did that happen?
That was on Monday. I have not taken it yet, but I guess now, Alex, I'm riding with you. And I've said this 1,000 times on the show. I have always been very intimidated by Alex. The only time I've ever ridden with him has been on his Thanksgiving Day.
Come on.
Thanksgiving Day, right? I know. he's just so
You got to get on that Club
hard.
Bangers.
I got it. And he gives
though.
you such amazing shout outs. Your 3950 shout out, your soulful, he's awesome. But I definitely want to do this one. So that is definitely bookmarked for me to do. Because, it's funny because until you really have somebody that's close to you in education, you recognize, how little appreciation they get and how it is such a thankless job. And I may have mentioned this in the past. My son did a Ben Aldous. He went from finance and accounting, which he hated, into something which he was incredibly passionate about and got into teaching and education. So not fitness, but into education. And he loves it. And he says to me often, he goes, I love it. I make a third of what I would have made as an accountant or as in finance, but it's just absolutely amazing to see. So yeah. So we also mentioned in the opening of the show that Peloton were having Mother's Day classes. And now, while Mother's Day is not celebrated in all the Peloton communities today, Peloton did release designated Mother's Day classes for those who do celebrate this weekend. You can head over to pelobuddy.com for a full list of the classes if you missed any of them. So they started on Friday, the 6th, and they've run right through to today, Sunday, the 8th. So there are those classes dedicated to all you mums out there.
Well, the month of May also marks Asian and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, or APIHM, in the United States, and Peloton once again, we'll be celebrating all month long with special content. They made the announcement recently on Instagram saying, root down to rise up. May is Asian and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, and we're lifting up our members who represent the numerous countries, languages, and diverse traditions that exist within our API communities. And members should see APIHM classes appear on the schedule throughout this month across all modalities. They'll be placed in the APIHM collection for easy access as well. And you can also view classes from the 2021 and 2020 collections as well. And they've already announced numerous classes that will happen live and drop straight to on demand, including a special release for Lane Break, Peloton's video game for the bike. And so far, we have some classes and meditation and yoga flow with the DT. There's going to be a walk with Selena on the 16th. Looks like the very first class that's going to happen are the live ones with the DT. But there's also a live DJ, API Heritage live DJ ride with Emma. That's going to happen towards the end of the month on May 26th. I think that's a Friday, the live DJ time slot. And there's also an outdoor walk and run. That'll be the last one to drop on the 27th, which will happen on demand with Susie Chan. So stay tuned for some more comment. And this is not this list might not be complete so far that what we have on Peloton. There might be other classes that'll be popping up over the coming weeks.
And of course, you guys know you can just head over to pelobuddy.com and Chris lists them all out, which I really like, because sometimes it's hard to find them if you're looking for specific ones. So it's nice that Chris has them all.
Yeah, the website really
so you can just go there.
Lists it out, nicely, and displays it there. And also, you'll get an APIHM celebration badge to go with any of those classes that you do.
Yeah, May is going to give you tons of badges, that's for sure, with all these things. I think the goal is going to be who can get all the May badges, right? All the May badges. So for all you yogis out there, we have actually noticed that the Power Yoga filter has been removed in the app, and that there are now new class types. There is a grounded flow, a balanced flow, and the Power Slow Flow. So if you're looking for, if you're on the app and you're looking for different classes, that is what you will see now.
Nice. Well, one Peloton club has recently lowered their pricing. So Peloton recently updated pricing for their new program that allows members to essentially rent a Peloton bike or Bike Plus and bundle the cost of it with the monthly subscription fee. And this follows the news back in April that Peloton would be lowering the cost of their hardware, but coincidentally raising the monthly subscription cost. The One Peloton Club landing page has been updated with example pricing information, which it did not list previously. And now Peloton is openly advertising the cost to rent a bike or Bike Plus, although there can be some variation depending on what market or city you're in if the program is available. Might be more or less. So here's an example of how much Peloton says it will cost to rent a Peloton bike or Bike Plus through the program. So you can rent the original bike for $59 a month, which includes that monthly all-access membership as well. And then you do have to pay an upfront membership fee of $250 for delivery. But after the 12 months, you have the option to buy it out, to own the bike for $1,015 US. And then for the Bike Plus, it's about $11 more. It's $70 a month. You have to pay an upfront $100 delivery fee. It's interesting how the delivery fee is less with the Bike Plus.
Yeah.
But then after 12 months, you can buy out the bike for $1,585 US. So just another, sweetener. I know the Mother's Day pricing is also ending as well
weekend.
for that promotion. Yeah. But yeah, just another, if somebody's on the fence, just another opportunity to get in there, to get the
Just for
equipment.
someone to get in there. Yeah, they've certainly made it way more affordable than it used to be. That's for sure. There's certainly
there's
no
many,
excuses.
Yeah, there's just so many different options and avenues you can take. So
to jump on that bandwagon. So remember that scenic radio and Peloton ride, folks, that we spoke about last week on the show? Well, it's now available to everyone as of this past Wednesday. I have not had the opportunity to do it yet, but I think it is a pretty cool added feature, I have to say. So to recap, the new feature will allow members to pick their playlists to ride or run to while on a scenic Peloton class. So it would be picking a class that you have either a timed class or a distance class, but a scenic class. And we have learned that the scenic radio will give you a set list of different playlists that you are able to pick from to listen to while you are on that ride or run. So initial reports indicated that there are 6 different playlists or radio stations that you can pick from. And you have the same list of 6 choices no matter which scenic classes you are in. So these new radio stations will show up, as I said, both in the timed and distance scenic classes, but not the guided instructor-led classes. So if you're picking one of those classes, obviously the music that they have chosen to use while guiding you through their ride or run is the music that you would be listening to. You can't override that with this new radio. But a nice different option. And because I will tell you that the music that they had on some of the scenics was not fun. It was kind of just like an instrumental type thing in the background. And it was one of the things that put me off.
Bland.
Yeah, definitely put me off. Because I used to do a lot of those. In fact, when I first started riding, I did a lot of the scenic rides, and I haven't done as many because that did irritate me. I have done them when they've brought out the ones with the instructor, doing them, but not the ones that are just a scenic. So this will be fun. There's a Latin music, there's a pop, I don't have the list. I know that Chris will probably pop the list up here so you guys can get to see it, and you can certainly head over to Pelo Buddy to get to see the full list of what the genres are of the 6 options that you get.
Nice. Well, special thanks to friend of the show, Bob Tremore, for sharing this recently. He discovered that Peloton Output Park, the Lucky, Ohio complex that Peloton was going to open about a year, I think in 2023 or 2024, to produce hardware, which they obviously shut down with all the, the recent news and the stock price and the layoffs, is up for sale. So CB Richard Ellis, the commercial real estate firm, has a whole brochure, a website listing for it. There's no price that's publicly listed, but it's almost 1.2 million square feet of commercial space that is partially finished. So you can see, the building, it's not all completely done. It's, I don't know if it's maybe like 50% done, but in some of their highlights of this spread, they say it's an outstanding opportunity for a large manufacturer looking for a jump-started project. But it's such a sprawling, and it's kind of sad to see it, up for sale. But I'm sure the company will be, happy to get it off their balance sheet, because I'm sure that's a huge liability on their financials.
Yeah. I was sad though. I got to tell you, I was looking really forward to that. It was such an amazing opportunity from an employment perspective, from a Peloton, just a member perspective, and being able to go out and visit it and seeing, things in production.
It would have been pretty close to where, we live in Michigan. So
for sure. For sure.
Sad.
Yeah, definitely. All right, John. Well, I guess that pretty much wraps up the news portion of the show. I can't believe we got through all of that. There seemed like there was so much. I guess we did go through so much. Let's roll right into Instructor in the News. And you are up first with your boo.
Yes. So Cody Rigsby, he will be co-hosting the GLAAD Media Awards with actor and singer Miss Peppermint in New York City on May 9th, Monday. The awards celebrate the best in LGBTQ media, and GLAAD stands for Gay and Lesbian Alliance Against Defamation. I don't think this is somewhere going to be broadcast live, but hopefully we'll see some highlights, or maybe it'll be available, on demand on different platforms once it happens. So it'll be fun to see clips, see how Cody, does his hosting or MC duties for this. Hopefully he brings the comedy, which I'm sure he won't disappoint.
Oh, he will. That is going to be really fun to see what he has to offer, because he's going to have us probably in stitches for sure. Emma Lovewell has a beautiful new article written in people.com this past week. The article is titled "How Peloton's Emma Lovewell Found Her Voice to Celebrate Her Asian Heritage and Stand Against Hate." So Emma shares with people.com what AAPI Heritage Month means to her and how she embraces her culture. She shares how when she was young, she looked up to journalist Connie Chung, who was the first Asian woman of authority other than her own mom. Isn't that so interesting? It's a beautiful article, and definitely one that I encourage you folks to read. You can pick it up if you head over to pelobuddy.com and just click the link that Chris has on there. But it's a beautiful article, and it's written really well.
And Emma was also featured in an interview in Pop Sugar titled "Peloton Instructor Emma Lovewell Lives to Make You Feel Invincible." And one of the things I thought was funny, she grew up on Martha's Vineyard, but she said her parents were hippies. She said, and so I think they were into wellness even before wellness was a thing. She said her dad was a fisherman, and the family also gardened and grew a lot of their own food, which, has obviously rubbed off on Emma, because she's very into her garden at her home in the suburbs that she helped make improvements with her husband. She said her dad was raised with a deep understanding of where food comes from and what she was eating. She said her mom, a Buddhist, has been meditating since Emma was in the womb, and also taught her about the practice at a young age. But yeah, we have a link on Pelo Buddy if you want to check out the full article there.
Amazing. There's a beautiful picture of her actually of her and her mom in the People article that they had there, and it's always cool to see them, with their parents. We've obviously, seen Kendall with her mom Susie, and Leanne with her mom Sue, and Cody with his mom, Alex with his, all of them. I love that they bring their family into it, and we kind of can relate to them. And when we read these articles, we know who they are because we've seen pictures and they've spoken about them so much, which is so nice.
Yeah.
So with Tunde's celebrity status and the launch of her book, folks, it's not surprising that she was featured on the Today Show this past week. Huge congrats to Tunde on her amazing accomplishment in releasing her book. And again, if you want to see the excerpt from the Today Show, you can head over to pelobuddy.com and get to watch that.
And so many podcast interviews and magazine interviews. I didn't have a chance to even dive into this one, but Christine D'Ercole, CDE, She was recently interviewed on the podcast For Your Listening Pleasure on Apple Podcasts, which we link to on the Pelo Buddy website. I'm going to check that out as soon as I have a chance. But if you haven't already checked it out, go ahead and take a listen.
Yeah. And Kirsten Ferguson was in the news again this week, this time in cafemom.com in an article titled Prioritize Movement, Mindfulness, and Self-Care with Peloton's Kirsten Ferguson, just in time for Mother's Day. Talking all about being a mom, balancing life between her kids and her job. We spoke about her either last week or the week before. She is the most incredible mom, and I just love how she interacts with her kids. So this article just gave you a little bit more in-depth into that, and just the juggling act that, I think it's whether you're a mom or a dad and having to balance, your work, your kids, and your Peloton obsession. We have to add that in as well, because it takes up, it's so often where, I don't know if you find that, you've said you don't want to do it at certain times because Jackson's home, or, you feel like it's family time. But, so often I'll be on a ride and one of my kids will call and I'm like, I'm riding or I'm running. And it's like, do you really need me? Because I feel so bad that, my Peloton workout is taking precedence over their time. So she chats about that, and it's a great article.
Nice. Well, Kendall was recently interviewed for Sports Illustrated. That one is titled Peloton Instructor Kendall Toole Reveals Working Out Helps Both Body and Mind. She talked about why movement is so powerful for your mental well-being. Her fitness journey, she says, began with gymnastics, and then she was a cheerleader when she was at USC. She took to boxing during her junior and senior years at college, and then got into teaching training later on with boxing. She also talked a lot about being diagnosed with anxiety and depression when she was in college, which we know she's very
So
open about her struggles, in the past, with mental health. And then she was also on the Diet Starts Tomorrow podcast, so if you want to listen a little more about, she gets way more into detail about that in the podcast. But she, talks about her lifelong struggles with mental illness, including a young diagnosis with obsessive compulsive disorder, OCD, which I didn't know that was one of her, because I'm very OCD, but I can't say I was diagnosed with it, but I can totally relate to a lot of, the mental health things
aspect
that she,
of it.
has struggled
with. One does. I know you have spoken about it before, but it's certainly something that, can impact one's life. So it's great that, and people don't talk about it openly. So it's nice that she has that forum and platform for folks to hear and listen to. And then I guess
she's really done well normalizing the conversation.
100%.
Especially in her
Definitely
chats on
health.
the green. Her chats on the green weekly. Insta lives that she does.
She's, and you can just relate to her because she is just so raw and honest and open, and I love that. There's no pretense about what she's telling you. She just puts it out there as it is, and it's quite moving actually, and certainly dealing with it. I've said I've been open about it before in the show, and I've just said seeing my kids go through their own struggles. It's always been so helpful to get to hear what she has to say and just normalizing it. So I love it. And then lastly, an instructor in the news, John, Olivia Amato. We don't talk about her often, but she did make the airways on the Adam Shine podcast this past week. And Olivia talks about her journey to becoming a Peloton instructor, her style of instructor, how she motivates her class. And the most fun was the collaboration with Joe Jonas in doing the On the Leaderboard. So she chats about that in the podcast, and it was really, really cool. So again, head over to,
I don't think I've ever heard the story of how she came to Peloton, or if she was recruited by one of the, other instructors.
It's in there, so go ahead and listen. There's lots there's lots to hear. There's lots to hear. Well, right. John, I guess that pretty much takes us to our picks of the week. And do you want me to go ahead and start it, and then we can have
Kick it
you
off.
do yours, and I'll kick it off,
Yeah.
and then we can have yours, and then we can kind of go. We can go from there. So boring old Seglo 3 will share her two picks of the week, and I got to tell you, folks, there was no going anywhere else with these. These were absolutely amazing workouts that I had. The first one was John Husking's 30-minute 80s run. And John, I wish you would run with me on the treadmill because I got to tell you, now it wasn't the one that I told you to jump on last week or a couple days ago,
Okay.
but this was back from Thursday morning, and he drops it. It's a very early class for him, so I had to do it on demand. But it was probably one of the best playlists of 80s music that I have done in a workout, and he absolutely killed it. A 5% incline on a run. I mean, seriously. But I got to tell you, I was so bummed that I was on a generic tread because there was no question that I would have hit a PB on there. I mean, I was at about an 8.5 speed, which for me is huge. In a 5% incline. But the playlist, folks, included. Relax from Frankie Goes to Hollywood.
Frankie Goes to Hollywood,
I Want to Break Free from Queen. In God's Country, U2. You Give Love a Bad Name from Bon Jovi. Susudio from Phil Collins. Sweet Love, Anita Baker, Two Tribes. Again, he did two Frankie Goes to Hollywood tracks in there. Let's Go Crazy, and then he ended it off in his cool down with Kiss on My Heart, the Kiss on My Lips, excuse me, on my list, listen to me, the Daryl Hall and John Oates track, which is fantastic. So huge kudos. I'm loving that he's back on the platform with his running, and I guess he, in preparing for the 5K program that he did, he was actually off the running schedule for some time. So getting him back on there has been really amazing, and it's increased my running significantly. And then Crazy Amanda, I still can't believe that I did it, but I stayed up or snoozed and then woke up for Leanne's 20-minute country ride, which was also on Wednesday. Actually, John's was on Thursday. Sorry, this was on Wednesday. It was a 2:30 a.m. Eastern Time class, but it was country, and it was absolutely fantastic. She loves Dolly. She didn't have Dolly in the actual ride. She had Dolly in the pre-show. But the music that she had on there was from, and I'm just pulling it up because I never remember. It was Thomas Rhett's What's Your Country Song, Billy Ray Cyrus's Achy Breaky Heart, Carly Pierce's Next Girl, Brooks and Dunn's My Maria. She had Faith Hill's Breathe, and she ended it off with Maureen Morris, Taylor Swift's You All Over Me, and Taylor's version. And it was honestly the best playlist. It was an amazing ride. And when you're doing it at 2:30 live in the morning, it was interesting. But I did it.
2:30. How many people were on the ride at 2:30 a.m. Eastern time?
So you know what? It's 7:30 a.m. In the UK. So it was a decent
London,
time for those wanting to get a ride in before heading off to work. So there were about 300, I think, live on the ride. And it was lovely because there were a whole bunch of my friends. Leanne and I had been messaging each other, and Mark was out of town this week, so it was easy for me to be able to get up at 2:30 to do it without bothering anybody else, which was great. And she was very sweet. It was a milestone for me. It was 21:50, and she gave me a shout out, and it was just so lovely. But I was getting up irrespective. I figured, you know what, I'm doing it. I wanted to do it with her, and it was definitely a pick of the week for me. So those are my two. Go ahead and share yours, and then we can run through the list.
Well, after being off the bike and tread for almost 2 weeks, I went real heavy this week in working out way too much. So I have a bunch. I'm going to just kind of go through them rapid fire. so we can get to the member submissions that were given to us for this week. But I'll kick it off with Cody's 45-minute intervals and arms ride from Wednesday, May 4th. Really, one of the harder Cody classes with a lot of the intervals and there were 2 upper body segments. But, I wouldn't consider Cody one of the harder instructors, but this was definitely a harder class plan for him. But there was a lot of different funny moments sprinkled in there, which made it fly by. So check out that ride. And then Maddie Majacomo's 10-minute core strength from Thursday the 5th. This had a boys-themed playlist in some way or other. The title of each song or, what the lyrics was all about boys. But it flew by and was a fun 10-minute core crusher. And then, as I mentioned earlier at the top of the show, the Olivia, the 10-minute on the leaderboard, which I did as the walk, which it was a walk with Joe Jonas and Olivia. Just really funny. They played sort of a Q&A game where if Joe Jonas got the answer wrong, he had to up his speed. So by the end of it, Joe Jonas was kind of in a pretty steady run. But it was just fun. Joe Jonas talked about his before concert preparations, how he lets out a big scream. So he and Olivia kind of let out these big shouts during it. It was just fun, back and forth. The banter with the 2 of them. And then Christine CDE's 30-minute classic rock ride from Tuesday the 3rd. Now, this was originally listed as a 30-minute 60s ride. And she had some Stones. Yeah, so what happened was, I don't know, about the 3rd song, I almost need to pull up the playlist because I didn't make any notes from it. But, yeah, here it is. So maybe the 3rd song in, all of a sudden, the Kinks' Come Dancing comes on. And I immediately was thinking, okay, this is obviously not 80s. This is obviously not a 60s song because it came out in the 80s. It was actually the 2nd song. So it was a bit of a goof by Christine. And then, she played some Beatles, a really older Pink Floyd song from the 60s, some Beach Boys. And then she also threw in David Bowie's Under Pressure, which was obviously, I think, from the 80s. It's definitely not from the 60s, another 80s track. So I had posted in my stories, I was like, I'm not mad at it. I love, a sprinkle of 80s whenever possible in a class. And so she messaged me and she was like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. They might have to take this down. She was mortified. And I was like, I said, dude, give yourself some grace. I mean, it's a very simple mistake. Don't make such a big deal. Don't be so hard on yourself.
Yeah.
And she ended up, they relabeled it classic rock.
Oh, perfect.
Because of, the other, the 80s decade in there. But you might be a little confused if you do it on demand because she introduces it as a 30-minute 60s ride. But still, regardless of the little mistake, it was still a great ride. All the songs were fantastic. So moving on now to the tread, Selena Samuela's 30-minute hike from Thursday the 5th. Super spicy, really high inclines. I really pushed it with the inclines, but super fun class. And she gave me a random shout out. She noticed, she's like, I haven't seen you in a while, Kenny Bania. Where have you been? So she took notice that I'd been absent from the leaderboard. But yeah, real good hike. And then I've already got 5 picks here, but I have to give it up for Hannah Frankson, her 30-minute 90s hip-hop ride from Thursday the 5th as well. Probably the best 90s hip-hop playlist I've ever heard on the Peloton platform so far. It had Snoop, I think, in the pre-show. I'm not sure about during the ride, but you had Bone Thugs Harmony, you had Ice Ice Baby, Vanilla Ice, Tupac, Biggie, Mo Money, More Problems. It would be the playlist was really perfect. So much great 90s stuff in there. And Benny Adami was doing that one live as well. And we video chatted at one point. So it was a great time. And it was funny because I tried video chatting him right at the start of the ride, and I accidentally hit somebody else.
Oh God!
And all of a sudden, this woman pops up, and I just go, "Hey." And I just quickly ended. I can't remember who it was that I follow, but I was so embarrassed.
Oh, John, that's hysterical.
So to that person that accidentally accepted my video chat before Benny, I apologize.
Yeah. Oh, that's too funny. That's awesome.
Yeah, but great, fantastic ride with Hannah Frankson.
I will say that is really cool about Benny is how he does jump on the instructors' rides that are live. He did a Hidden Heels with me last week. Were you on that? You were on that one too. Was Leanne's Hidden Heels? What was it? Were you on there?
No, because I was on.
No,
vacation.
I think Chris Giles was on there with me. Okay. He did a Hidden Heels, and I actually messaged Leanne and I said, I got to tell you, having Benny on there made me push myself so much harder because I felt that I had to compete. There's no competing with Benny. He's a beast, on the bike. But I love seeing him on there. It's really cool, and he definitely loves to high five. You may have some competition there, John. He is a serial high fiver. So that's really cool. All right. Well, let's go ahead.
To him. I motioned to him and I said, "Turn up the resistance. Come on."
Did he? Did he do it?
Probably.
That's too funny. All right. Well, let's go right into the picks of the week. Do you want to go ahead with your girl?
A few different members submitted. Jen Sherman's 30-minute Rob Lowe mixtape ride from Thursday, the 28th of April. Susan ATX, Mander Tech, and Kelly J. Duggan. This was like a massive, and Jen even kidded. She goes, I think Rob Lowe's going to have to take out a restraining order after this ride if he ends up doing this class. Because it was just an absolute Rob Lowe gush fest from start to finish. The music was great. It was just funny, her going on and on about Rob Lowe, how much she's really into him still from,
he
a childhood crush.
He is so bloody gorgeous.
I
did that ride.
He's aged very well.
Very well, very well. I did do that ride. I have to tell you, I was a little disappointed with it. And maybe because she was just gushing the entire time.
Yeah, I read some complaints. Yeah, it was a little too much talking.
Yeah,
there was a lot of talking. They make that same comment a lot with Jen Sherman.
Yeah, I was really looking forward to it because as Jen, I'm the same age as Jen, and I grew up with Rob Lowe, and he was plastered on my walls. Even in South Africa, we oohed and we ahed over Rob Lowe back then. So I was really looking forward to it. I mean, I have seen every one of his movies. Back in the day, the music was amazing, but she definitely, I don't know. That's just my 2 cents, but I'm glad that others enjoyed it, and I'm glad that it was a pick of the week for others.
I think you either loved it or you hated it. But one other thing I thought was funny was, Rob Lowe's two, I think he's got 2 sons, Johnny Lowe, and I don't know the other one, but they love to constantly roast him whenever he post something on Instagram. Like they'll make a comment, it'll get tons of likes because they'll just be cracking on him, whatever the picture. So Johnny Lowe, that Thursday, he posted in his Insta stories, he was he was choosing a class on his Peloton bike, and all of a sudden he shows the Jen Sherman Rob Lowe mixtape ride, and then he turns the camera on him and he goes, "No thanks."
Oh, that is too funny. Well, I know that Rob reshared it on his Instagram. He reshared Jen's post or your post.
Yeah.
Was it your post? Was it your story?
Excited. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
She reshared John Lowe's story about, passing on her class.
Okay.
And then she gushed in the ride about Rob Lowe resharing one of her posts about the ride. Yeah. Yeah. And I've been checking Rob Lowe. His leaderboard name is RB1. Pretty simple.
All right.
As of a couple days ago, I haven't seen him take the ride yet, but he does ride with Jen here and there. He seems to do mostly on demand.
All right. Got it.
So hopefully
all right,
he's
well, let's
taking
move
it
on
by
because
now.
there are lots here.
All right.
Let's move on because there are lots
Yeah.
here. So Charlotte Wiedebach did a 20-minute Paramore ride back on the 29th at 1 p.m. Eastern. And Rachie Merriman said she really loved this because she played deeper cuts and not just the hits. So I guess Charlotte picked the right Paramore, tunes to go along with that ride, and it was a huge hit. So yeah.
And a few different members: T-Baby, Chrissy Cav, Shantastic, Life, and Jen Krause 21 submitted Jess King's 20-minute corn ride from April 29th, and the comment here from one of them says, sometimes you gotta rage and get weird on the bike, which sounds exactly like Jess King.
Right, exactly. All right, so I have a fellow member that loves John Husking. So Lucky O'Malley, the 20-minute Lenny Kravitz run, and that was back from Saturday the 30th at 6:35 a.m. It was a fantastic, fantastic run. So I'm glad that Lucky O'Malley had suggested it as well.
And then for you runners, Mata Christina and midwife Lexi submitted Bex Gentry's 60-minute intervals run from the 30th of April. They said, not just for the diehard Bexpies, a great entry for anyone looking to get into longer running classes with a fun playlist.
Awesome. I did this next one. So Rihada recommended DT Shah's 30-minute morning slow flow back from Tuesday the 3rd at 8:25 Eastern. Aditi's AM flows are always good, but this Tuesday's one was an extra perfect way to wake up. And I say, here. It was such an awesome, and she kind of follows it after her morning meditation. So she does her 10-minute morning meditations on a Tuesday, and then she does her flow. And I'm still at that beginner stage too, so I love these slow flows. It was amazing. So I'm glad that somebody else recommended it. That's awesome.
And eHammer 05 gave us Ben Aldis's 5-minute cool down ride from the 3rd. He said this one was they said this one was perfection.
You know, I love that somebody recommended a cool down ride as a pick of the week, because I really have to tell you that, I'm a huge advocate for those warm ups and cool downs. So it's nice that somebody actually included that in the picks. Well, there were a lot of folks that loved Dennis Morton's 20-minute Jimi Hendrix ride, also from the 5th. It was from 5 p.m. Eastern. So Brian A., Country Music Lady 229, and Red Hawk Rider. One of them said Dennis is doing what he does best, appreciating the artist and riding to the beat. So thanks for that.
Nice. Well, we had T. Macdo and T-Baby, Movie Star 600, submitted Jess Sims' 45-minute Teacher Appreciation Shred Bootcamp from the 3rd. They said, had me laughing and crying. She was on point.
Awesome. And Taylor Jacqueline and Starlight and Company recommended Olivia Amato's 10-minute Red Hot Chili Peppers Core Strength. That was from the 4th at 10 a.m., and one of them said playlist was great.
Nice. And we had D. Nat Haley, 21, submit Hannah Corbin's 30-minute pop bar. I don't think we've had...
a bar.
I don't think we've had, a bar submission.
Yeah, I love that.
Before. So this is a new one. But they said a great full body workout.
Awesome. And Jess King's 30-minute Broadway ride. And I missed this because I typically do all the Broadway rides that come on there. But this was back from the 4th. And it was at 5:35 p.m. Eastern. So she must have, maybe she did 2. But it was her 30-minute, and there were quite a few people. So Deb Cohen, But Make It Zazzy, and Amy EP99 all recommended it. Some of the comments were Villains and Vixens, 7-minute climb to Chicago's Cell Block Tango. Oh my goodness, I have to take that one. That sounds like it was awesome.
I think that's But Make It Zazzy.
But what did I say?
Did you say Built
But
Make It or something?
All right. So Deb
Make It
Cohen,
Zazzy.
But Make It Sazzy, and Amy EP99.
And I had already mentioned one of my picks, Cody's 45-minute intervals and arms from the 4th, but also Bossin' Up for Donuts submitted that one as well. So thank you, Bossin' Up for Donuts.
Yeah, and then last up, folks, rounding these all off was Kendall's 30-minute Red Hot Chili Peppers ride from the 4th, 8 p.m. We had spoken about it, I think, launching the Red Hot Chili Peppers Artist Series. And there were quite a few folks. So the, oh my goodness, the Platersons, Anna M. Hershey, Platersons, Anna M. Hershey, and H. Uggs and Pugs.
Hugs and Pugs.
Uggs and Pugs. Somebody said killer. Yeah. And I say it again. I apologize profusely if I have messed up your leaderboard name. I am just so thankful that I am not an instructor and I'm doing them while I'm sweating and riding or running and working out. But some of these leaderboard names are so hard to pronounce or figure out what they are. So, and hey, mine's been butchered many times and we know that yours has been, John. So we can relate. I mean, I was Sergio 3 once. I was something else for somebody else. But anyway, thank you so much, everybody, for submitting those. There were tons. And I guess that, John, wraps up this week's episode. So, yeah, wow, there was a lot. Hope we kept you all engaged and that everybody wanted to stay on so that they could hear what the picks of the week were. But thank you so much for watching. I'm thrilled to have you back, John. And I got to say it.
Thank you.
Happy birthday, my friend. Happy birthday. I hope you are celebrating today as only John Pruitt can. And yeah, I know what you were going to say. Happy birthday to my Mark. It's his birthday too.
Happy birthday to your Mark, yes.
And happy birthday. And happy birthday. And happy
men in your life.
Mother's Day. And happy Mother's Day to all the mums out there. So if you are celebrating today, we at Pelo Buddy wish you a very happy Mother's Day. I hate the fact that I am sharing Mother's Day with my husband's birthday. I need to chat to Jackie and see how she feels about that, because it's just not cool. Not cool sharing it. My kids were very confused as to who's going to get, who gets the hierarchy, and I said Mother's Day. No question. So hopefully Jackie got Mother's Day too.
We're just putting it off till next weekend, to the following Sunday.
All right. Well, John, happy birthday. I hope you have an amazing day.
Happy Mother's Day.
And we just adore you and are happy that you are back. So from me here, folks, down in Miami for the last time, I will be heading back to Maryland for homecoming next weekend. And I should be back in Maryland for pretty much most of the summer. So as I packed up my daughter this weekend, who finished her freshman year of college, I mean, mind blow, complete mind blow. I cannot believe that she has done her first year. So we packed her up and we are hitting the road on Tuesday and are driving back to Maryland. So wish me luck with a 18-year-old, almost 19-year-old in the car for 15 hours. But hopefully I get there safely and I will see you guys next week. We haven't quite decided yet what we're going to do with next week and homecoming, whether we'll do a show beforehand, whether we'll do something during homecoming, but we will certainly let you guys know as soon as we know. We're chatting between ourselves to figure out what makes the most sense. So have fun, everybody, and bye for now.
Yep. For me in Michigan, thank you for tuning in. And as always, we will see you on the leaderboard.
Thank you for watching Pelo Buddy TV, your source for everything Peloton, by the community, for the community. Work out with us using the Pelo Buddy TV leaderboard tag and find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Pelo Buddy. Don't forget that we have a podcast available so that you can listen to us while on the move. Just search for Pelo Buddy TV on any major platform and hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode.